Hey everyone, this is Greg. Um, I'm going, my last videos I talked about uh, doing. I can't, I can't talk this. Sorry, guys. Now I was talking about the way that I do my channel. That's our role. We want to look at other games, and so me and Scott are going to do a Beck Me duo game coming up soon. Once we get our schedules together, and then but I'm still going to continue to do my Shadow Dark solo that's on the channel, and we're up to 10 sessions. Plus, um, I have the four videos that shows you how to use the book to give you build up your own little world, and how to build a settlement, how to build NPCs, how to do all those types of things. And I'm also kind of redoing some of that a little bit because I do agree with some people um, about that I do need to have a temple section. I was trying to kind of go along with the book, just kind of using shops, taverns, and stuff because she doesn't have like a temple section. However, I could add that in the I can add that you know in the design book, but I'm working on that. But anyway, I talked in my last episode about maybe adding GM Mythic Emulator, the second edition, for the simple reason that um, my game seems like the problem I have with not problem I have with solo in general, but a problem that does come about with solo is the fact that you can your game can get too big, right? And so, especially if you create your own world and you put all the you have your city and you fill out your town with your NPCs and you have your temples and you have your different districts and you have your locations around and you start to go adventures out of the town and then it's the world starts coming together and you start singing, oh, look at this, look at that, look at this, oh, what if this does this and that type of thing. And I think you can do it on your own. And some people on the Shadow Dark, Solo Dark Discord channel talked about you can use characters in threads. You don't really have to technically use Mythic Generator, which I agree with, and to a certain extent as well. But anyway, I was just looking at it because I felt like after 10 sessions, I did the world building and played in my little world, and then I had them do, you know, their own separate little adventures just to kind of get out and about and just to be able to sit down, roll up an adventure, and get going and showing you how you can do that. And I kind of do like that style. But then it just started getting to me because I didn't start with this espiotic, these little episodes of just adventures on my guys and just sitting up and showing you guys, oh, here's my guys, let's go. I started it in the village or in the town of Ironbridge, and then I kind of built up around that. We had adventures going on with the Madeira and the half demon prince and the cultists and the vampire showing up, and then the cursed um, the cursed dwarven place, the cursed castle. All these type of things that were going on. And then I jumped to doing something different just to kind of mess with it because that's what I do with a lot of the stuff that I do. Um, I I own my own businesses. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and one of the things that you learn is that you come in with a plan. You have your pretty much you know plan of what you want to do, uh, and then when you get in there, you realize what's important, what you need to add, what you need to take out, how to do what needs to be done, what's important, what's not. And so it's the same thing with solo. I get into it. I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I want to do this now that I've done 10 sessions? What's something I've learned? And I really think that if I want to keep it with using Iron Bridge, and just like the last episode, I added um, new hexes and I added 6 areas so that now I can roll a d6, and that's where my adventure is going to take place. And one of those areas in that town, I thought, okay, how do I bring it together? And I thought, well, I'll just get Mythic Emulator and do that. And so, um, however, uh, as I'm working on that, I thought about go ahead and starting. I want to add another game to the channel, and so not just a bet me, but one that I can do that I can switch back and forth from. And I've been looking at different ones, and I've talked to some. And when um, some of y'all might not know, but I'm not. Um, I go home and then I come back on my job right now, and then once I get home, I have a whole lot more stuff I can use to make the I have miniatures and I have some map stuff and everything to kind of make the game maybe a little bit more thrilling than you watching me pencil and paper it, which is nothing wrong with that. And then I have a couple games I would like to try. I definitely want to try the new Conan role playing game that they just came out with. I have all the boxes sets for the board game, and they just made an RPG to kind of go along with it. I definitely want to use that because I have tons of Conan miniatures and stuff. That would be cool. But anyway, I was just trying to think, and I was looking through. I'm going to play Dragon Bane with somebody else, but there's also some Dragon Bane channels that are going on. I bought the box set at half off at a um, local game shop. The guy had it on a half off pile, so I bought it, and it's really really cool. And I got friends who play it. But I thought as I was going through all the stuff that I have, I looked at this one called Beyond the Wall, and because before I started Shadow Dark solo playing, I did a through the Sunken Lands. Um, I should have brought it up, popped it up, but it's made by the same company, Flatland Games, and it's I started soloing with that using Mythic, and I had a really cool story in that I would like to continue, and I thought about doing that one first, but then I still want to do something in honor of my friend who passed away, and so I thought, how about I pull out Beyond the Wall? And so Beyond the Wall, the difference between I really like this game. The difference between Beyond the Wall, it's made by you have the same company. Um, Flatland Games makes Beyond the Wall, Through the Sunken Lands, and they have a new one called Grizzly Adventures, which is really really cool. But and then I think they have an action movie one that they do. But the Beyond the Wall is I have it here, and it says it's based inspired by the works of Ursula Le Guin, Susan Cooper, and Lord Alexander. And I would also say that it would be also with like Raymond Feist or Robin Hobb or J.R.R. Tolkien. It basically it starts with the I guess you could say Robert Jordan as well, because Robert Jordan starts with the kids from the village, so it has that vibe to it because you start off your young people who are in a village, and the adventures start off from there, and so but in Through the Sunken Lands, it's completely built upon. I should just brought it up. I don't know why I didn't. Michael Moorcock, Robert E. Howard, and Fritz Leiber, and it's geared towards that kind of sword and sorcery type game, and so I like that, and so I started in that one, and I like that one. I like doing that, but I thought about it, but I thought, I really want to do something um, that's more a little light fantasy based, and I will tell you by looking at these rules, this is a really really good game and a RPG, very good RPG, I think, especially, and I'm gonna show you why I like it so much, but um, especially if you like Shadow Dark, because a lot of the vibes here has the Shadow Dark in it, and that is the way that they built the book. All these are on Drive Through RPG. You can get the PDFs, and then you can get a print on demand copy, which are really good. I have two of them, and I have Grizzly Adventures coming. But um, the one thing that they do is, I mean, there's only three classes, and basically the warrior, rogue, and the mage. You have, and Shadow Dark has the four. But one of the things about Shadow Dark is everything's in one book, and you know how much I love that. Everything is in one book. Even though this has supplements, you can still play with just the one book, and um, and they release modules which they call scenarios and scenario packs, which is very cool. And I'm going to show you one of those, the one I'm going to start off with at the end of this. But here's the game. Here's the cover, Beyond the Wall. And as you say, it's your small village seems like a haven to you and your friends, but it's not safe. Dangerous fairies lurk in the forest just outside of town. Wicked men and ferocious monsters are a constant threat, and sometimes dark forces find their way into your neighborhood's heart. You and your companions are young and untested, but ready to protect what matters. And so that's what this is. It's like uh, growing up as the young adventurers starting off in their village. And so what's really cool about this game is that here's the core rules, very streamlined. It's almost it's almost like a lighter you have Shadow Dark has all the dark Shadow Dark parts to it. It has this sense to it because it has the mechanic of dungeons and stuff. This really has a vibrant, villagey feel to it. And one of the cool things, and it has all the basic strength, dexterity. If you know anything about the OSR D&D, you can follow this very simple. All the stuff is still in here. But the alignment is just law, chaos, and neutrality. Um, the initiative system that makes it a little bit different is you get an initiative value, and what they tell you for the game master is for to put the players in their initiative value, and it's you don't roll for initiative. You sit in the order in which you have an initiative value, and the monster's initiative value is based upon their hit dice, and that's just it. So if you have a 3 and the monster's a 2, you're going to always go first. But that doesn't always mean, like, you could have a 3, the rogue could have a 1, and then so that's where the monsters would slide in. Um, Very simple, very fast. Don't even have to roll. You have your basic attack bonus. They give you armor class, hit points, saving throws. And in fact, when you look at the character sheet down at the bottom, you will see. I mean, once I show it to you, uh, it looks very basic D&D. And so, making a character, um, you can do. There's a couple ways to do it. Um, you can assign your ability scores, roll 46, ignoring the roll, and then you repeat it 5 times, and then you assign them wherever you want. You pick a class and an alignment. You pick your skills, your language, and your equipment, and you're off and running. And so then they have. I mean, see how simple this is. One page, just like Shadow Dark. One page for your character. There's a warrior. Everything you need to know about it. The rogue, everything you need to know about it, the mage, and everything you need to know about it. And the thing about the mage here, they don't have a priest class, but the mage can be, if you look at the spells, and you can pick. Uh, so mage is just a general term for cleric, druid, um, or magic user, basically, because the spells are going to be that way. And the spell system's really neat as well because it's got coins and its uses, copper and silver and gold. The things that you can buy, the basic odds and ends that you can buy as well. It also does with this basic. One of the things it does is it just allows you to say, in a general sense, that you have the equipment that you need, that you would basically have, that you would think you would have as an adventurer. You don't. It doesn't have a whole. Um, you know, buying everything that you would have to have as a. I mean, it does have like thieves' goods and rope and chain and a mirror and a sack and stuff like that. Um, then you can do Highlands and allies, rolling the dice. It's a roll under system for ability score checks, and it also has but a roll high to attack. So roll low for ability, roll high for attack, and it has the ability that if you want to change it around, if you want to, excuse me, if you want to change it around where everything's roll high, it tells you how to do this as well. It has contested rolls, and it has your typical bonuses and penalties, just like in Shadow Dark, because everything's a rollover. It has the you know if it's easy, hard, whatever, and this is for the GM that you can do easy task add +2, normal just 0, hard task, difficult task, impossible task. About the pluses and minuses you add. Charisma and reactions. It looks everything like, and then the Clash of Arms combat, of course, initiative order, attacking the enemy. It's just all basic stuff. Here's some other damages you can get from other sources. Very clean. It reminds me, like I said, a lot of Shadow Dark because this is it's just clean and concise. Has a thing about true names, and that deals with knowing the true names of like uh, other creatures and stuff, and how that gives you power over them, and you can use against them. And that's you can use it in this game, but it also has um, it's kind of bigger in the Through the Sunken Lands because of the laws of the gods of chaos and all this kind of stuff. Experience and level, how you level up and everything. Look at that, just one page. All right, the sorcerer arts. If you're a mage, you have cantrips, you have spells, and the thing about spells is there's no levels to them. So, um, so you do a spell, and you'll get a list of them, and you can just cast it at your level, and then it'll have a description when we get to them down below. But the thing that has levels to it is the what I call rituals, and those are the ones that you have, like find familiar. Um, I think it's like mage armor, things like that, things that you have to cast, that you have to do that give you more like long term benefits in a way. Those are the ones that are based upon level, but your regular spells don't have a level. And then it does have, well, it talks about, fantasy creatures having elves, dwarves, and halflings. It starts off. You can start off as it's mostly humans, but you can add them to you, and it tells you if you do. Here's a couple of rules, like halfling spirit, small statue, that tells you, um, like small statue for a halfling. Being small statue hurts in a fight. Halflings may never have a strength higher than 10, and they may only use weapons which do 1d4 or 1d6. And then you have elves and stuff. However, later on, they did put out these playbooks, and I'll show you them in a minute, for halflings, dwarves, and elves. I'm not going to show you those playbooks, but I'm going to show you what a playbook is, because that's what makes the game really, really cool. So it gives you an example of an elven highborn right here, what they can do. But how to play, it's got a DM section, how to look at when you're building the characters. It really deals. So when you get the party together and they all get their playbook, they choose what type of character they want to be. And you can just do it regularly. You can just say, I'm a warrior, you roll your 46. But really the heart of this game is what they call their playbooks. And so when you can just imagine sitting at a table and you say, what kind of character you want to run? And they will give you, there's a couple of them on here. And so what you're going to do is it will tell you, give you questions about your childhood and that gives you, we'll see it in a minute, that gives you skills, your ability scores and stuff like that as you build your character and as you roll. But what it also does is each player as they roll, it will do things. It'll say the person to your right was the person, like something happened in your life, and the person sitting to your right or to your left was the person who was at that event. So it ties you together in this village. And it also allows you, so let's just go to the end. It will show down here. Let's see. The other thing you do as you're building your character is there's a character sheet, very simple. And they have a free 2-part character sheet as well that has a front and back. It has a second part of it. But see, here's the village map. So you print this out, and what happens is you go around, and I'll show you this when we do the playbook, but when you roll on there, it will give you, each player as they go along adds something to the village. It can be something that they rolled that's part of their story. It could be something that they make up, but then you put it on the village, and it can be even outside the village. You could say, 5 miles from town is a borrow to a forgotten king or whatever, or ruins of a castle or whatever. As you go around, they can either use, we're about to see on the playbook, that they can either use their playbook to add, or they can add something themselves. So what you do is you got this map, and it always starts at the end, because that's how fantasy adventures begin. At the end. And so you have the end as the center of your town, and then you flesh it out as you go around the table, and they're allowed to add. So the players help build their world. But what really helps them do this is these character playbooks. And so a character playbook, and it just tells you up here, when running the game, it tells you building the village, right? And so when you have on a playbook, they're going to have these little pictures to the side. And when you get to that part, this is when they add, the players and the game masters will take turns adding either a player NPC or a location. And so I'll show you how that goes in just a minute. But it has a GM's about, and then it has about a GM's page about how to run a game. Basic D&D stuff, introduction to the mage spell book, the different cantrips you have. See how it has druid touch, has beastkin, It has blessing, things that you would think that would be that, if you want to make a cleric type of character or a priest or whatever. It's just a magic, someone who uses magic. See, and here's the spells, and the spells do not have, as you see, they do not have a level to them, which I really really like. And how you get these spells will, and they're not very powerful. I mean, they do have some things in here, but um, you got magic missile, healing touch, um, flame charm, feather fall. I don't know if they have like a what are their different pass without trace, sensation, smugglers. Like, so these are a lot of true strike things that and so here, I mean, look at there. The mage lays a fell hand upon her blade, so she can carry a weapon, granting her precision and power. Um, and then you have down here, you have these are the rituals, and these are based upon level. So you see how like arcane experience, experiment, bind familiar, circle protection, mage armor, and then you have level 2 and summoning and feast. But then level 3, continual light, friends, wizard's lock, up to level 4. And these are spells that you cast like an hour before you go, because they take like an hour or so to cast. I think it also has on here in the reading. Oh, there's fireball right there. Um, so which is a high level spell. So it does have it has a cool up to 10th level. Has their magic items, 10th level rituals and spells. It's very 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 cool game. Um, Introduction to, and then you have all your different monsters. And look, it looks a lot like I said, Shadow Dark, because look how simple the monster um, is. The bat gives you a little thing and gives you some basic stuff what they can do. It really has a cool section on making demons, the greater demon. You can build them. It has one on making dragons, making goblins, and they have so many other packs that you can get. They have their own bestiary. You can use any of the monsters from any of the books. They all interchange because they're all basically the same. And so you look at these. So then this is the part I like, and this is character playbooks. So and scenario packs. So what happens is you see right here, it has this thing called a self-taught mage, and that's what we're going to roll today, because that's going to be my Tiberon that I'm going to do in front of my friend, and I'm going to make this um, fit the page. So self-taught mage playbook. So what you do is you roll your d12, and as you can see, it tells you you're always a bright child and love stories of ancient wizards and sorceresses who mastered the arcane arts. Unfortunately, there was no one around to teach you such things. In fact, sometimes you wondered if the tales of magic were even true. When you came of age, you found an ancient tome and decided to find out for yourself. You're the brightest child in the village, so your intelligence score starts as a 12. So you just write your things down, con, and charisma. Um, and your base on your intelligence will be a 12, and then all the others are an 8. And each playbook has a different beginning. So this is the self-taught, and then you roll. And as you see, so my first roll, I would add. It would be my turn. I would roll, and it would say, "What did your parents do in the village, and what did you learn from them?" And then I would have to place. I get to place a a location, right? And so that was my turn, and then the next person would roll, and then they would place a we'd go around building our characters as we went. And then you see like this one right here. It's like the other player characters are your best friend. Who else in the village befriended you while you were growing up? And this will allow you to add another character or NPC to the village. And then after those, the first part is basically your childhood, and then it gets down to you found the tome and began your studies. You become a level 1 mage. You gained a class ability, sense magic, and spell casting, the skill ancient history, and a cantrip mage light. The tables below will tell you your other spells. So what happens when you were learning magic, and it gives you this type of stuff. But and then another location, and then it gives you. We'll go through all these, and then it gives you a time to put another character. And what's really cool about these scenario packs, so you can print them out, hand them to your players. So if they pick one, and there's a bunch of them. These in this book, um, they have let's see, the self-taught mage. Oh, and then let me go this forget. But look at it. It tells you how to fill out your sheet. So you hand them a character sheet. You hand them a playbook. This tells them everything they need to do. Then it takes, this is your reference for your players. It takes how to make tests, how to play the game, ability score set, combat roll, saving throws, all right here for them. Class abilities. I mean, they did a fantastic job in designing this game. Class abilities. Bam. Here's my class abilities. Here's my saving throw chart. Here's my fortune. They have fortune points, which are kind of like tokens. You get 3, and you can use them either to help a friend, a second chance, or cheat death. And then it gives you your ability score bonuses. So when you're filling out your character sheet, it's all right here. So when you hand these playbooks out to your players, they already have you hand them a character sheet and they start rolling their dice and they create the character. And it's going to allow them to create a character with depth right off the beginning. So instead of sitting down and going, what kind of character are you playing? Oh, well, let me roll. Oh, an illusionist. Well, or a magic user. Okay, tell me about your magic user. Well, he grew up in this town. He has all this backstory. This helps them develop it. So if you have some, people who are just new to a game, it's a very good way to get them started. And so they have the Untested Thief playbook. They have the Village Hero playbook. This is what comes in the regular starter game. The witch's apprentice playbook. The would-be knight playbook. And I think, the young woodsman's playbook. And I think that might be it. I think that might be the last one. I'm about to find out. No, oh yeah, and then you have scenario packs, which are basically they're like modules, but they're very, very cool. They are modules that you can play over and over again because you're going to roll dice to generate them. It's very, very neat, especially when you add some of the other. And I'll show you one of the other things that they have, because we're going to look at what I'm going to play as the first scenario after I create my first 2 characters. So my first 2 characters I'm going to play is I'm going to create Tiberon, the self-taught mage. So I'm going to roll this up, and then I will be able to build my village as well. I'm going to roll. You're not going to see. I'm going to keep the book up instead of me trying to put a player. I'm just going to, right here, I have my card, and I'm just going to write down what I roll. So what did your parents do in the village, and what did you learn from them? And on my card, I'm going to write locations and NPCs. And so what that will allow me to do is if I decide, because probably once I get out of here, I will probably, because I don't think they have developed the system for kind of like with Solo Dark or whatever. Well, they don't even have it in Shadow Dark, but they have adventure generators. They don't have that kind of in here. But if I want to tag this along playing solo with, if I was going to play solo, it does have, well, I'm going off a tangent, but they do have ways to create campaigns, and they have their own way of doing that as well, which is kind of cool. So, so let's roll this up, a D12. Let's find out, what did my parents do in the village, and what did you learn from them? So I rolled a 5. Your father was a local smith and taught you both hammers and bellows. So I do have a blacksmith shop, and my father was the blacksmith. Okay, and so I get +2 to strength, +1 to dex. You see right here, +1 to charisma, and I get the skill of smithing. Okay, and then we're going to roll on the next one. So, and then if I was doing it, I would say, hey, there's a blacksmith in our town, and so that way I'd add that to the village. How did you distinguish yourself as a child? I roll a D8. A 4, no secret escaped you. I get plus. So I'm going to write that down as a character trait for my. So no secret. So he's very inquisitive. So I'm going to write that down, and then +2 to intelligence, and then +1 to dex. All right. The other player characters were your best friends. Who else in the village befriended you while you were growing up? That would be a D8 itself. A 1, laboring with the blacksmith took your mind off your troubles. So there you go. I mean, it doesn't, I would write to get something that would maybe uh, expand out, but you know what? That's what I rolled. So get another +2 to strength and a +1 to charisma. Okay, and then I would add, so I added a blacksmith and then I added another blacksmith. Okay, you found a tome. So I have my tome. I'm a level 1 mage. I get sense magic, spell casting, ancient history that comes with it, and it comes with the class. Okay, what happened to you as you learned magic? A D6, a 5, a plunderer. What? Who wrote your precious book of magic? A plunder of forgotten tombs. So what that's going to do, plunder of forgotten tombs, I want to write that down as under my tome. So that gives me a couple things for my NPCs. So I can add a forgotten tomb, and I can add the plunderer or whoever he was as an NPC. And so what did I get from that? So I get +3 to dex, and I get trapping. Yep, skill of trapping. Okay, and then what sort of mage was the author of the book? This is a D6 as well. A 6, a traveling sorcerer. You learned the following magics. So I learned Featherfall, the ritual gathering mist or gather mist, and blessing. And then I get +2 to my constitution. Okay. And then, all right, so this would be a spirit of chaos was drawn by your power. How did you fight it? The player to your right was there with you. So this builds automatic. It's going to do two things. It builds a story between players I'm by myself, but it builds a story between my two players. And so what it does is when I roll on here, it's going to give a benefit to the player to my right, to his abilities, and then I'm going to gain something as well. So let's roll. I just threw my dice on the floor. What kind of silliness is that, son? That's going to be a bummer. 1, you stood before it with steady hands. Your friend to your right by your side did not waver. And so my friend, when I make my second character, it's +1 wisdom. He gets +1 wisdom. And then I get +2 wisdom. And I have spell commanding word. And again, so I know that my character stood with steady hands. I don't know if that would give me something, but it gives me steady hands. That means he's calm under pressure. And it also tells me that I have a spirit of chaos that has, as an NPC, I'm going to write that down, spirit of chaos. What it is, I don't know, but I can figure that out later. However, it gives me something to develop. All right. A wizard from the south passed through the village when you came of age. What did he think of you? A D6. Man, I got this thing over here. 3, he performed a secret naming ceremony for you. So my character has a secret name. We have a NPC, a traveling wizard. And I got +2 to constitution. And I got an engraved silver ring. Okay. Engraved silver ring. Okay. And so what I do is then I'll record my name, my class, and ability. I know I'm a mage on 1 level. I'll record your ability score. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up what I have. So I have a 12 strength, I have a 14 intelligence, I have a 10 wisdom, I have a 13 dex, a 12 constitution, and a 10 charisma. That's not bad at all. And so what I would do, and I have 3 fortune points, it tells me, um, your character always starts off first level with max hit points plus my constitution bonus. So I'll look down here and I see what I have as a bonus. So my strength, the only thing that I have a bonus for would be my intel, which would be a +1, and my dexterity, which is a +1. So that would also tell me what my initiative bonus. I have 0, but it tells me your initiative is equal to your level plus your dexterity bonus plus 0 for being a mage. So I'll have an initiative of 2, and so that just tells me that basically I'll go on. Whoever has, I will go, on the 2 because it starts high and comes down. And then you have your armor class is 10 plus your dexterity bonus plus the bonus of any armor you have. And I can't remember what mage. Oh, I couldn't remember. It's right here. Mages may not wear any armor. So it has my sense magic on here. It has what my fortune points will do. It has everything. And then so it has everything that I need in this book. So I created my first character. So this is Tiberon and the wizard, the mage. So I'm going to flip over and I'm going to pick another one, and I'm going to go down to the would-be knight. That's the one I'm going to roll. Not the village hero, the would-be knight. I like. Yeah, would-be knight playbook. You grew up sitting wide-eyed around a fire, listening to stories of knights and heroes who slew dragons and saved the kingdom. The other children liked those stories as well, but you lived for them, and you promised yourself that you would grow to be a great knight too. You are strong and brave. So my strength starts at a 12. My intel, wisdom, dex, con, and charisma all start at 8. So I'll write all those down, and then I get cracking. So I'll roll a 12. 11. What was your childhood like? You went on journeys into the woods to gather herbs and berries. Okay, so we know that there's woods nearby. Maybe there is a ranger type person. And so if I was doing this, I would add, woods. You journey to the woods, gather herbs and berries. So I have +2 to wisdom, +1 to con, and +1 to dex. And then I get herbalism. And we can look at what skills do later on. How did you distinguish your childhood? That would be a D8. How did you distinguish yourself as a child? 1. Children often fight, but you never lost. So +2 to strength, +1 to wisdom. And I'm gonna write down here fighter, brawler, or something. I don't know. We'll see if that has something to do with something. The other player characters were your best friends. Who else in the village befriended you while you were growing up? I roll a D8. Well, that's how I met my friend. Laboring, I rolled a 1. Laboring with the blacksmith, you took your minds off your troubles. +2 strength and +1 charisma. So, again, the blacksmith, but that's how I knew Tiberon, because we labored together. As you came of age, you began your quest to become a great knight. You're a level 1 warrior. You gained a class ability, weapon specialization, and you have knacks. Knacks, we'll see them at the bottom. Knacks are really cool because they're basically fighter type skills. And you have the skill of writing the tables below or further define your class abilities. How did you begin your quest? Where did you practice skills at arms? Roll a d6. 2, you are truly untested, but often boast otherwise. I have +3 to charisma, and I have deceit. That's cool. I love anything that gives. That's why I love this. I love anything that gives my character already a personality. What is your preferred he was a fighter, but you're truly untested when it comes in arms. But you boast otherwise. I guess my thing would be he's untested in the ways of the world. He's the best in his village, but he has not tested himself against anything other than the people in the village. Your preferred fighting style. This is how you will get your weapon. 1. Clever sword play and a quick guard. Your weapon specialization is the long sword. And you get +2 to dex. Okay. When did you first draw blood? The player to your right was there with you. Okay, so he's going to automatically gain a +1 because he got that from Tiberon. So let's roll and see what his happened. 6. A brigand was waylaying villagers on the road, and you decided to put it into his robbery. Well, that's kind of weird because I'm untested, but maybe that's with your friend on your right traveled the roads with you for 2 weeks, hunting the thief down, and he gained +1. Those kind of be +1. He gains +1 Constitution, so I'll flip over. All right, so he goes to a 13 Constitution, which will give him a +1 to his hit points. So he'll start with 7. But my fighter has 6, so he gets +2 to con. And his knack is resilience. That's his knack. And we'll go look at those in a minute. Now that you are ready, how will you seek your fortune? D6. 3. You will rescue a princess, as in the tales stories of old, but you first have to find one. So it's +2 charisma, and he has a gold threaded tunic. All right. And so here I would add an NPC. So I'm going to add a princess. Gives me something to look for down the road. Okay. And so then I would go and I'd build this up. And so it says, also tells me what my following equipment, and it tells me on the other one too. I get a knife, peasant's clothing, a horse of your own, your favorite weapon, my longsword, leather armor +2, 4 days feet of your mount, and 46 silver. I pick an alignment. My base attack for a warrior is I get a +1. My initiative will be my 1 for a warrior, 1 for my level, which would be 2, plus my dex. So let me add up my ability scores real quick. I have a 16 strength, 8 intelligence, 12 wisdom, 11 dex, which is not going to be anything. I have an 11 constitution, and I have a 14 charisma. So he's strong and charismatic and deceitful. So I don't get anything dex. So he will go. His initiative will be a 2 as well. Because of that, 3 fortune points. His armor class, so he comes with leather, so he gets +2, so he's at 12. No dexterity bonus, so his armor class will be at 12. You fill off your saving throws, and then you record your to hit damage statistics for your weapon. And as you look down, this will tell me my fighter stuff. So here I have all weapons have a favored weapon. All warriors have a favored weapon for which they are particularly skilled. Your playbook tells you your favorite weapon, so I get +1, +2 to damage with my longsword. Okay, and then my knack. So I can go up here to knacks, and that is going to be under. Where is it's not under warriors? It might be. Let's see. Yep, here they are under warriors. I'm gonna make this big. So it's just amazing what you can do. You just hand your players their playbook, character sheet, print out the warrior, and they're good to go. So my knack, I have resilience, so I get +1 to all saving throws. So these are the knacks that I could have rolled. So I get +1 to all saving throws because I'm resilient. +1 to STs, not STDs, but STs. So there you go. I created my 2 characters, and then so my first adventure I'm going to play is they make these things called scenarios, however you want to say it. And so this is the one called the Goblin Infestation Scenario Pack, and they have ones that come with it. The first one, it's let's see, what comes with the book is going to be way down here in the bottom. You have the Fae, the Angry Fae. Okay, and it has, you can roll your village name. It gives you some come up with names, uh, people or the characters. Reminder to add locations and NPCs to the map. And then here's what's so cool about these is it gives you, you fill these in by when your characters. So when your characters are building their characters, and you sit here and you roll to the guy to your left and he starts creating this character, and he says something, you're going to write it into, so it said you're going to write it into this chart so that you can roll, and it will help you with the adventure. And it has all these things. I'm about to show you one in more detail. But then you have, so it comes with a scenario pack, and it's um, has everything you need to run it, and then it gives you your suggested monsters right at it. So you got the whole adventure all in one. And then they have the hidden cult pack. It has the same thing, and this is kind of really cool because you're going to fill this out as the players are going on. Like um, it will say fill in the blanks on the following chart. Let me make this big. Fill in the blanks on the following chart with people, places, and things that come up while the players are rolling on their first three tables, their childhood backgrounds. A person might be a cult member. An item could be a cursed artifact associated with a cult, while a place might be under the control. And you're going to, who or what betrayed the character. So you're going to fill these in with the NPCs that they name, right? Maybe it might be their family members, all right? You're going to roll these. That's going to tell you who or what betrayed the characters. And then above, as above, fill in the blanks on the following card with people, places, and things that come up while the players are making their characters. But this time, from their 4 class specific charts. So when they first rolled the first 3, you're going to make it from their first 3 childhood, and then the ones below, what does a cult desperate need? You're going to fill these in, and then you can roll. And then what it'll do is it'll tell you what is their purpose, who is the leader, events that happen during the game to kind of get your characters rolling. So it tells you near the beginning of the session what a character's starting their investigation, what kicks things into high gear. Bring this result in after 15 to 30 minutes of play. You might want to ignore the table if the game gets off to a fast roll on its own, but you still use the result to inform your thinking while you're figuring out what is really going on with the cult. So you can roll these things and who leads the characters off track. And then it has the dungeon. So it doesn't give you a dungeon per se. It allows you to make your own. However, it gives you what guards the dungeon, what challenge awaits inside the dungeon, what is the final challenge of the dungeon. Then what goes on, if you're playing a scenario as a one shot, stress and stopping the cult will probably be satisfying enough for the players. But however, if you want to continue, it gives you something to continue with. What hints do they find? And then it gives you some things for recent events. And then again, it gives you the monsters, which is very, very cool. Here's the character sheet. So those are the 2 that come with it. But they have others, and I have this one, the Goblin Infestation. And what I like about it is the fact that it's got the same thing. So what it will do is it will allow me to get my village name. I'll roll that, and then it can give me a name for my character I just made. So I'm going to roll a d12, a 7, Elton. So a Tiburon and Elton. Elton. Elton or Elton. It could be Elton, whatever. And then, so now it has first determine what sort of goblins are plaguing the character's village. Roll on the following table to determine the special traits shared by the members and the beasts of the tribe. So you can roll on here, and then who is affected by the goblin attack. So just before the game begins, the characters are away from home. While they're gone, a goblin raiding party attacks their village. Someone close to the characters is affected. As the characters roll on their first 3 tables for their childhood backgrounds, fill in the following table with some interesting people. So it tells you who attacked and who got attacked and what happened to them, to get your game going. And here's also what they want. And so by using the 4 class specific charts, you can go in here and put possessions that they would like. The person, place, thing caught their eye, and now they'll do anything possession. Who's the Goblin King? Events that happen during the game. What pushes the characters to action? What might lead the characters off the track? The road goes on, and then it allows you to build it. So it has the dungeon. A good dungeon is a staple fantasy gaming, and this comes with Dangers near and far is another thing that comes with it. I have it somewhere over here. Goblin Caves details. You have a section on Goblin Caves detail how to design a random Goblin Cave system with just a few dice rolled. Read that section ahead of time. Begin on page 36. The tables on this page are abbreviated version of the information in that section, so you can generate quickly. So it tells you the entrance, neighborhood table. Roll either a d6 every time you determine a new neighborhood, and then it has specific, and number of exits, how to build a dungeon. It has everything you need, and then you don't have to go far. You don't have to go look into a monster manual or whatever to have it all up. All your beasts that you need are right here. It has some supernatural foes. It has some regular other threats that could be in here, and that's it's all there, and so it's really really cool. And the other thing is this last part is they make these. If you want to kind of get a general, like create a campaign, they have these for all their different ones. They have one for a giant worm, they have one for blighted, they have for undead or whatever. And what this does is it lets you create the goblin raiding parties move 1d4 hexes in a random direction each time. Imminence is rolled. They move whether the roll hits or misses. So imminence is gonna allow you to build up the threat of your campaign, the reason for the invasion, the lord of this goblin town, and so it allows you to add stuff to it, and it's really cool. This game is really, really. I haven't seen it in a while, just because I've been playing other stuff, and then just looking through my horde of PDFs, I saw it again, and I was like, well, really, what got me started was I do have a Through the Sunken Lands, which is one of their games, character that he's really really cool. I love the story that I wrote on it, um, and maybe I'll introduce that as well down the road, because it takes place in a barbarian land, and they have a world map that has nothing on it, so you fill it in as you play, and they have a great city map that has nothing on it, and you fill it in as you play. So this is a really good system. I don't know why I don't know why it's not more popular. So anyway, that is what I'm going to do next. Is I'm going to start a Beyond the Wall. Um, and I'm gonna start a Beyond the Wall solo game as well with my two characters, and I think this is a fitting way of doing it. I could do first five. D&D first edition, all that. But man, as I told you, one of the reasons I love Shadow Dark and why I love games that give me everything in just really one book. I could play everything in this, but a lot of this stuff is pay on demand, pay what you want through drive through RPG. It's not very expensive to buy these things, and so I think everything that Flatlands has. In fact, I just ordered Grizzly Adventures, and that's a very very cool game. And I might do that down the road on the channel just to show you. It's one of those. It's a game where everybody sits down, they roll a few dice. They do the same thing. They look at this chart as you pass it around, and they build their character. But their character is a grizzly old adventurer, and that are going on one last. It's for like a one night session thing. And they're going on one last adventure together, and it has like 20 dice and logos. Dungeon maps in it, and it tells you how to build the adventure by this, rolling up who's the protagonist and all this kind of stuff. It's very very cool. And I didn't know that until I was just looking through to make sure I had everything on Beyond the Wall, and I went to Flatland Games. In fact, I will have the link in the, as Matt Cole says, the doobly doo below in the description. But anyway, this is where I'm going. Next, again, if you're my Shadow Dark, you've been on my Shadow Dark channel and you like it, really my channel is dedicated to solo play. But if you really like, I'm not leaving the Shadow Dark. I'm not leaving Imrib and Shireen and Hemel and his Mastiff Hound. I'm not leaving them. I'm still going to continue their play. But I wanted to have something. I really wanted to look at, I want to do this, and then from here, maybe leap out using some mythic generator just to keep things fresh and going. And I would recommend that as a solo player, that if you feel like, hey, I'm playing this game and I'm kind of like, you know, if you're like most RPGers like me, you have numerous games sitting around. And so Shadow Dark might be your favorite right now, but you might look over there and go, there's something I want to play. How about I do? I would love to play this. And so, and it might be Dragonbane, it might be Dungeons and Dragons, it might be all these other stuff, and but look over on your wall and say, I want to play games that I don't see a lot online. I thought about, I can maybe grow my channel by playing more like D&D solo, and with the new books, which I don't even own, but, or something like that. But I really like these older games. I don't want the older games, all these different style games. And so Beyond the Wall is one that I've been wanting to play. Like you said, I already have one that's made by another game made by them, but it's all the same world, really. Um, Beyond the Wall, Through the Sunken Lands, and even Grizzly Adventures, you can interchange all the stuff with the bestiary and all that. So if I wanted to use monsters from this one, in fact, I think in one of my sessions on Through the Sunken Lands, I needed a troll, and they don't have troll in that book because they're all different monsters. I pulled it out of Beyond the Wall, and it works perfectly because the whole system's to make for itself. So anyway, this is the first time you've ever seen Beyond the Wall. It's a great system. I will start probably next weekend. I will start playing the Goblin Infestation. I'm going to get my characters up and rolling, and it'll be back to looking down below from my camera below instead of doing it like this. But again, hey, thanks for the channel, and let me know what you think about Beyond the Wall. Have a good night.